Hello, my loves. How are you? So there's a couple themes that I've been noticing are coming up with this full moon. And one of them is this essence of feeling like we're wanting to fully step into the new ways of being, knowing that there's sort of these old ways that we operated, and then feeling like everything's sort of coming up in somewhat of a jumble and wanting to truly drop into fully trusting yourself, but feeling all of that sort of confusion energy. And this is coming up because part of what is happening is there's a deeper layer of the clearing happening. And so, right now is sort of the time to set your intentions, but let go of the expectations. Okay. And I've been noticing something that I think is really, really important. I've talked to like some friends and I've seen some of the comments from you guys where there's this theme of wanting to drop into a solution, wanting to step into fully trusting yourself, but feeling some levels of frustration that maybe you're still accessing or connecting with outside sources. And I want to say a few things that I feel are important around this. And the most important part is the shift in perspective that I have personally found to be what's the most powerful. Because when I was trying to do things a specific certain way, like trusting myself a specific certain way, it was sort of squishing out my natural intuition. But when I allowed myself to just experience life as it was being presented to me, say a video popped up or I had a conversation with a friend, and even if in the moment some of the information sort of maybe felt a little bit like I wasn't trusting myself, what I have learned to do is to step back and give myself space. And then when I'm ready and the information is coming to me, view it more like I'm building my own toolbox. And then I'm going to have the tools that I need for what I'm trying to accomplish. And what just came into my mind was like, imagine you want to cook something and you go look up a recipe. Okay. This is sort of like watching someone else's videos or reading a book or taking a class, doing something outside of yourself for external information. Okay. You go and you look up a recipe for whatever it is that you want to make. And say you decide to end up this is actually what I do a lot. So I'll go look up two or three or four recipes for the same thing. And what I'll do is sort of take ideas from those recipes, like get some maybe of the main foundations, but then I adjust it accordingly. I might actually mix the three or four into my own combo. And then I might even spin it and add something else of my own. But a lot of times with those recipes, what I can find helpful is sort of ratios and then like a cook time and a temperature time. You see what I'm saying? So I can get some of those core things that give me a little bit of a framework, and then I take the ingredients that I want and the ratios I want, and then I'll mix other ones or I'll make substitutions and I make my own variation of it. This is how you can look at receiving information from external sources. Okay. If I don't know how to cook something, I'm going to go look up the recipe because otherwise, I'm going to waste a whole lot of time trying to figure out the basic foundations. And I could do it, but it might take me 10 tries without any support to make the right recipe or to get those ratios right or the temperature right or the cook time right. But if I go get some mainframe idea, I can skip the 10 tries and make a decent version the first time, or maybe a really great version, the Danielle version the first time, and then tweak it as I go. And I can build on it and grow on it. And expand on that foundation that someone else already sort of worked on. This is how I look at not only recipes, but when I watch someone else's videos or take someone else's classes, or if I coach with someone on, where I'm receiving services, whatever it is, that's actually part of my guidance, is to go get that support, because that person, that video or that class, that recipe has some information that's going to support my time and help me get to where I need to go faster. If I want to fix something on my car, I go YouTube it. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I got to take it into the shop, but there have been a few times where I've been able to take something that would have cost me a couple $100. I order it for $10, and then it takes me 2 minutes to do it by myself because I watched a video on YouTube. Now, it all depends on how you want to look at this, but this is relative, and it's the same thing when we're talking about dealing with our ascension, with our emotions, with our spirituality. Of course, you have your own stream, you have your own pillar, you have your own specific intentions and purpose. But it's okay to connect with sources and get parts of your puzzle. Okay. This is actually a very important piece of being human. But with that said, there's also going to be times where you've taken in your puzzles, you've taken in your information, and now it's time for you to go sit and sort through it and discover your own way. Like I said, I think the most important piece is not putting yourself into one specific box too intensely. Like, you do not have to attach to, oh my gosh, I need to have a coach, I need to have someone to support me, to I got to do it all on my own and I can't get any outside support. I think there's situations in our lives where the part of the self-trust is trusting yourself enough to know, I got this on my own and I do not need outside support. Or I'm not really sure, so I might stick my toe in and still see where I'm at, because that helps me build the muscle. Or, you know what, I'm totally stuck on this. And the most responsible and self-trusting I can do is to get some support from an outside source. All of those are relevant. All of those are important. Again, the most important part is that you're cultivating that understanding and supporting yourself in the most important way. And sometimes we're going through this process of building that muscle where we're still kind of sticking our toe in and taking it out. One other tip that I would like to give you around this is, if you feel called still to go to outside sources, or you've been doing that and you are feeling called to go dropping into trusting yourself, but you're still finding that you're clicking on videos or that you're guided to sometimes, use it as an opportunity to take a new perspective with whatever you're listening to. I've done this with myself, and it's kind of cool because I'll go test it and sort of stick my toe back in, like, am I doing this because I'm looking for something specific? Am I doing this because I'm trying to fill a void? Am I doing this because I want to grow? Like, what is the energy and the essence behind what I'm seeking? And then I make my decision based on that. And there's some times where I'm totally not even wanting or needing a video, and something pops up and I'm just guided to click on it, period, because my higher self is like, there's something in there for you. And it's, again, it's not doing it a specific way that's important. What's important is that through whatever process you're taking and whatever steps you take and whatever decision you make in that moment, instead of judging yourself, trust that each and everything that you're doing in that moment is for a specific reason. And as you're walking through the process is where you build your self-trust, my loves. But if you're feeling like you're beating yourself up or judging yourself or feeling disappointed in yourself, this is where I would like you to take a step back and let yourself actually unravel that energy so that you can get more to the core truth of what it is that you're actually wanting to achieve. Okay. So if you're trying to achieve something and things are coming up that are frustrating you, well, here's a perfect opportunity. Now you know what to unravel. Now you know what to let dissolve. Okay. And that it's 111 here. I love it. Okay. So that gives you some of the information that you're needing. This is why it, to me, in my experience, I've learned to let go of judging myself or, as much as possible when I do make different decisions, because genuinely at the core of us, our natural nature is leading us exactly where we are meant to be in that moment so that we can develop whatever skills it is that we're trying to develop. Okay. So if you're setting an intention and then you're finding that you're having certain experiences, well, roll with those experiences, my loves. Let yourself build the muscle and the self trust. It's like your bridge. Instead of thinking that you're supposed to go from one way of being to another way of being without anything in the middle, is actually, I believe, in our society, what sort of sets a lot of people up for failure. Okay. So, like if you're trying to quit smoking or shifting your diet or like starting a new exercise or learning to trust your own intuition, these are things that happen over time as we learn to embody them. Okay. In fact, when we try to rush it or we try to not give ourselves the space to move slowly and gently, if needed, that can be sometimes where we run into the obstacles. Where if instead we can just say, you know what, there's some obstacles here, there's some things that I'm still needing to learn, so I'm going to just let myself learn them. And part of that is letting go of the judgment of yourself when you're going through this process. That is going to be one of the most beneficial things that you can unravel for yourself, regardless of what you're doing, is the judgment of yourself in releasing the judgment of your process to get to where you're wanting to go. Okay, my loves, that I think is an important key piece of anything that we're wanting to achieve. Unraveling our frustration with ourselves that we're not there yet, embracing and supporting ourselves to start to take those steps forward to get there, but to understand that it takes a little bit of time, and that's all okay. All right. I've also been sensing that there are a lot of emotions that are coming up with this. You may be feeling or sensing there's a lot of sort of conversations, telepathic conversations, or energy or thoughts processing in the background, right? Like conversations with old relationships or friendships or things that are sort of processing. And this seems to be a big part of those karmic patterns that are closing out with this huge closing of this, 18, 20-year karmic cycle. This is very, very huge. And so, for those of you who have been working on your intention to clear out your karmic cycles, a lot of that is shifting out now as we speak. And when we're going through these bigger transitions, what we can feel when things are coming up is actually where it's exiting our system. Okay. So some of it, I would say, give it a few days without really attaching to whatever's happening. Just let it happen, let it flow, and know that it's what's actually exiting your system. Obviously, unless you're called to something specific. Okay. And I feel like I'm going to pull a card just to close this out. I think I'm going to go deeper into some messages on Patreon, but for this video on YouTube, I wanted to keep it with this message because it seemed to be a very big theme, especially in yesterday's video comments. A tidy house, clarity, and organization. So this is sort of what's happening in the energetics. everything sort of coming up to the surface to clear out. Like, when you're cleaning a closet and you take everything out, it looks messier before you reorganize and donate or put things away in a new, nice, neat fashion. But again, it's also going back to the new information you've been taking in, the new things that you've been learning in the old ways that you've been learning to let go of. And so when you're in these middle ground, right, the middle transition, where you're stepping into more of the new ways of being, or you're ready to, you may feel a discomfort of more of the old information exiting as you're preparing to level up, as you're tidying your house, as you're trusting yourself deeper. And again, part of that self trust is trusting you're exactly where you're meant to be when you are present there, and when it's no longer time for you to be present there, loves, you're just going to know. And it's going to feel natural. It's not going to feel like pulling teeth. Okay. It's going to happen very gently. So you also don't have to force yourself to be somewhere. You can actually let yourself drop into it, trust and know you're going to get to exactly where you want to go, and give yourself space to process and drop into it. Okay, my loves, I hope this was helpful. I hope that you're having a beautiful day despite the intensity of today's moon. And I'm sure that I will see you soon with some more support messages here on YouTube. And for any of you who might be interested, I'm going to do a deeper dive into what's going on or what supports might be helpful during this time. All right, my loves, I hope you have a beautiful day. Love you. Bye.